Hey guys, welcome back to the trail. Here we are, 1.5 miles already into the trail, just because we spent most of the time in Skipton. And here we are in Skipton, and we're heading up onto Skipton Moor for an 11-mile circular. There's Skipton behind me, and off in the distance, the North Yorkshires, Yorkshire Dales. So far, absolutely beautiful. A little bit cool, but it's going to get red hot today, and there's almost no cloud, so should be lovely. Get the elevation done now, get up onto the moors, get some nice views. But yeah, as you saw, we walked through Skipton town itself with its empty shops. Obviously it's very early, it's only 10 to 7, but already there's been a mist just starting to burn off over that way. Yeah, beautiful so far. So let's press on, keep climbing, bash out a few miles. Well, that's rarely seen on a trail. Huh. Oh. Oh my. So from parking the car at the north part of Skipton town centre, came down past the castle into the town, and then went east to come this way to the moorland. So I went down elevation wise into Skipton from the car, and then I've hiked all the way back up, and that puts us at, let's have a look, we're at 288 metres elevation at the minute, and we've done 2.1 miles. So it hasn't been difficult, I'll say that, but it's just sweaty work. And obviously you can tell by the sun in my face and my red face that it's going to be a warm one today, so getting this done early is going to be a bonus. You can see behind me, Skipton, we've got some already banked a lot of elevation, and we're heading pretty sure towards the trig point. Open access moorland again, as usual. So yeah, I think unhelpfully I've put black ink over the elevation. I think that's a 7, 373 metres to the trig. We're going to head all the way east and then down to some farmland and then cut north. For a short way we'll pick up the Dales Highway, which is a long distance trail. It's only going to be a short stint eastward, and then we're going to dogleg our way north through farmland up to a town. Should have kept the map out. Up to Embsay. I wanted to say Embsay, but it's not, it's Embsay. And then back down to Skipton itself. So should be, and I know after last week I shouldn't say it, but should be a reasonably easy circular route, especially once we get off the moors early on. So right, let's head to that trig point, let's grab it, and then get off the moors. Hopefully get some good views. It's steep. Well, it's not the worst hill I've ever climbed. Got it all to myself at the minute. Famous last words, except for the sheep. So yeah, it's quite a balloon. I'm hoping it's coming this way. But yeah, I learned some lessons last week, or at least one. And if you're new to the videos, it's worth watching them in order, chronological order, and going back to the beginning. I said before, there's almost a narrative to each video as I've learned more and more things and changed, and I had a tendency to make these definitive statements like, oh, I'm never doing this, or never do that, or definitely do this, and then a couple of videos on, I've changed, or my opinion's changed. And the last week was a similar thing, and the wise person accepts that, accepts a rebuke. If you want to be wise, you're going to have to accept that you're not always going to be right, and you need to accept that you're wrong sometimes. And I was wrong last week when I said I always try and stick to the footpath that I've planned on the route, even if it means crossing dodgy moorland to get back on track. And like today, my mapped route actually takes us down there, up to the trig point and back down in a sort of jagged point. But obviously now I'm here, boots on the ground as I like to call it, a natural footpath besides the one on the map to the trig point is already here. So people have obviously regularly come up here and found their own way up. So why sacrifice that just to dogmatically stick to my path? And I'm only talking about moorland at this point, but sometimes it's quite obvious there's a better trail like last week, and it's worth exploring, at least as long as you've got your map with you. And Gary, you've got a map to make sure you're not going off track. But when a better path presents itself, it's worth exploring. So that's all I've got to say on that. Yeah, our balloon's definitely coming closer. So yeah, it's been quite a learning experience the last 2 years of sort of hiking every weekend and changing things, and having a heavy pack, having a light pack, gas. I was using a methylated spirit burner, moved to gas, and you kind of grow on the trail, and you've got to be willing to admit you make a few mistakes. So yeah, that's my wisdom for today, and that just buys me a couple of minutes of rest. And now I'm going to carry on. Trig point is visible, and the sheep are already up there. So as a correction to myself, it's not actually called Skipton Moor trig point, it's the Vicars Allotment trig point, and it stands at 373 metres or 1,224 feet. Boosh, I should say boosh. So this is Skipton Moor trig point, and like I said, it's 373 metres. It should have come up on the screen already, and I'm really glad we came up so early. So we're currently at 20 minutes to 8 on a Sunday morning, and sky is beautifully clear. It's not too warm, it is warming up now. Getting some great views of the Yorkshire Dales, the North Yorks Moors, and all of Skipton. Thought I'd be able to see the castle from here, but can't really. So yeah, nice and peaceful. Not seen anyone since leaving Skipton, and that's as high as I'm going to get. Went to the elevation profile. It's going to be down a little bit for the next 4 miles down to low ground. So yeah, we're going to head east, pick up the green path. There is a path going that way, past that rock formation. Don't need to bother with that one. There's a very clear track putting me back where I want to be, not like last week. And then we're going to head east down to Middleborough House, I was say farm, and then north from there, pick up the Dales Highway. I could actually cut all that out, I think. Perhaps. Do I want to? So the Dales Highway should be down there. So it might be able to come back on itself. Don't know. Given what I've just said, I might do that. I might explore that option. It would drastically reduce the mileage, but I'm not that bothered. Okay, let's see what happens, eh? At some point I want a brew and my sandwich. Right, enough rambling. Let's go and explore. See if I get over to that rock formation and then have a look. So that way, I've got nothing visible there. There's no visible path. I've definitely got a visible path back to my original trail. And then I've got another path down there, which is heading north and should pick up the Dales Highway. And I can take that east and pick up my trail, my original trail. I kind of think if I take that one, I'm cutting off a quite a large chunk of mileage. It's going to take the route down to 6 or 7 miles. Hardly worth me coming out. So I'm going to stick to the original plan. I've got definite trail back to the original trail, and that trail picks up a green public footpath. So no memories of last week. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to definitely keep this to 10 to 11 miles. I really don't want to be lazy today. I've got 1 week before this is the last week before St. Oswald's, so next Saturday I will be driving north to Airbnbs with Paddy, Tim and the dad Bill. Really, I say it every time, really looking forward to it. All the prep's been done, so I don't want to shirk on mileage today. Make sure I squeeze out enough prep as I can. So right, let's get on this trail south, pick up the public footpath. Yeah. So ever since I reached the trig point, I've kind of felt very peaceful. It's quiet, the place is empty, I've not seen anybody else. I'm going to stop and have a brew. We're at the 4 mile mark, which is a third of our mileage ish. Might as well just have a brew. It's just so quiet. I can hear, obviously, I think there's an airport that way. I might be completely wrong. I can hear the rumble of the motorway. And we have some low flying aircraft. Without looking at the map, I don't know. So, for a while now, at least for the last few trips, I've done a video on this before, but it's the Vicars titanium 420mm pot. In that I just have a little carrier bag with a lighter, and this is the Vicars again, little guy, tiny little guy, I don't know what it's called. It'll, if the editor's on his job, he'll be putting the name underneath. And I love it. And like I said, I used to use I never remember what they're called, the little brass one. Come here. Trangia, I got it. I used to use a Trangia stove, and I never, because of the wind blowing the flame so easily, it got quite annoying to use. And then one time, I've said before, I was on a long distance trail, I think it was a Pendle Way, and I knocked it over. And if you knock over flammable spirits, they spread like wildfire. Obviously the liquid's on fire, you chuck that on dry grass, all of a sudden you've got a fuel fire. And once I'd done that, I thought, yeah, definitely not for me. So, straightforward gas can, smaller of the two. Yeah, I've had this for absolutely years, this can. Just never got around to using it up. With obviously this tiny little stove on top, more than enough. And never looked back. Should be alright to move my stuff out of the way. And what I noticed was a sudden fad, and I call it fad, and I'm sure you've all got one. I'm sure you've all got a jet boil, and I don't get it. I need to buy one. That's what I need to do. Before I make judgments about the jet boil, I need to buy one. I need to buy one and try it. I don't get it. You know, when you look at something and I'm like, I just don't get it. It's basically a gas stove. And it looks bigger. It takes up a lot of, seems to take up a lot of real estate in the pack. So I might buy the small one, there's a half version. I might buy that one. Just for you guys. Oh, hey! Oh yeah. Gonna give a shout out to my dad because I completely forgot to buy. I'm getting shot there. Completely forgot to buy my big 1.5 litre or 2 litre bottles of water. And he was out and about yesterday and asked me if I wanted anything, and he managed to pick me up a crate of 6 from Asda. Cheers, Dad. I don't tend to reuse the big plastic bottles. Just don't like all the idea of BPAs leaching into my water. Oh yeah. Oh, sheesh, that's a bit warm. Rubber band doing its job. Well, Will's wristbands from a festival, and he's at Creamfields today. Till, was it Monday, Tuesday? Not my idea of fun, as you can tell. I'm a borderline recluse. This is just beautiful for me. This is absolutely peaceful. There's only me making all the racket, ruining it for wildlife. Yeah, what more could you ask for, eh? Blessed. And there you go. Spoke too soon. 8:10, I sighted my first fell runner. It's been a while since I've seen a fell runner, to be fair. He obviously crossed from the trig point and picked up the trail we're on now, but heading west. There we go. The peace has been shattered. He didn't come this way, which I'm grateful for, because then I'd have to clear up all my stuff. Because currently I'm sat on a stile. Well, I'm not sat, but my gear's on the stile. They make for good tables. I'm going to be honest, I'm in no mood to move. I'm so peaceful. I'm so relaxed right now. If I had something like this right on my doorstep, and you could say I do in Rivington and Anglesark, I would make a little area I could just come to every so often, just for a brew. Just leave it, you know, a few stones scattered around. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Alright, brew drunk, all packed up. Oh, thoroughly refreshed. I got on the clock. 3.5 miles. I might have said 4 before. We're at 3.5 miles. 7.8 left. Yeah, so if I said it wrong, apologies. Right, heading east, down to the farm, then north, then to, what did I say? Embsay. E-M-B-S-A-Y, I think. Right, let's go. Only just spotted that marker at the last minute, which is our way up and over the wall. Oh my word. Sweating. I'm dripping. Absolutely dripping. Ah. So yeah, this is the bit that could have been cut out, but I'm glad I didn't. Getting a bit of a workout, but it's getting warm. Definitely getting warm now. You can see the local valley just spreading out down there. A couple of fields of cows, no issues. But yes, heading farmhouse to farmhouse before picking up the Dales Highway. Wow, it's warm. Did I say it's warm? It's warm. Maybe it's not cows today. Maybe it's dogs. Saw a border collie looking at me, and they're generally quite friendly. He stood there, but then he lurches forward, barking and snarling. Thankfully, he was on a chain, but he'd have had me. He'd have had me. So, on through another farmer's field, well waymarked. I did appreciate the little blue circles. It's been quite easy to follow now. Still heading towards the Dales Highway, approaching the halfway mark, and the temperatures are rising. Been such a good run of weather last few months. I'm glad I've been able to make the most of it, really. So this time next Saturday I'll be driving, going in my own car. Them three will be in the dad's van. Head up there on the Saturday, get the accommodation sorted, unpack. I think we're there for 3 days, and then we'll move somewhere else for a day, and then on to another one for 3, like we did last time on Hadrian's, and start the walk on Sunday. And they're averaging at 15 to 17 miles a day. It's not too bad, doesn't look that arduous either, but I do need to sit down and definitely take a close look at the map. I've not done this trail before. I've always said I hate taking people on trails that I've not walked myself. Can't be a good guide if you've not seen it yourself, so broke my own rule. I was actually hoping to go and do it beforehand, but it never happened. Sheep are all looking at me. So we're going to make do and do as much research as I can on the tablet before we actually get out there, and a bit of prayer, and it should be fine.
Sure in.
My name is Dick Slingsby, and I knew that my next case was gonna be trouble. This is the Dales Highway. Apparently it's a 90-mile long distance walk. Obviously crossing the Yorkshire Dales, taking in Appleby and what not. So we're just jumping on it for a short while before heading on north. Not been debarred. So it's a road walk from here going that way to Drayton. So I'm going to fill up the bottle, change battery on the camera, and make our way over there. Chicken with chili jam. So we're out of Draughton. I'm just following footpath through farmers' fields. Couldn't really say much at lunchtime, there were some girls playing. Didn't want to be filming. So had my sandwich and an energy drink, and now we're back on the trail. We've done just shy of 9 miles. We've got 3.7 left. So I just thought, while we're down here in this little dip, no idea. We're going to carry on up to Embsay and homeward bound at that point, back to the car. So the sun's gone in, hence the boonie hat's gone in as well. It's kind of just a cloudy sunshine, which we can live with. So yeah, following the trail on, out of these farmlands, and got some more road walking to do. I like the fact that I know it was on the map, but I couldn't see it from where I was. Now you can just see the railway line, and there's a railway bridge just over there. I think we're crossing there. Just didn't see an active railway as far as I know. But it's been great today to just be soaking up all the dales wherever I've been on the trail. It's just been completely saturated with the views. Been really good, and everywhere that I picked to walk through, so the farmers' fields, even the moorland, it was well signposted. It was fantastic. It's not always, as you know from the videos, not always that happens. Sometimes you just end up in the middle of nowhere. A shepherd's crook. I'll leave it somewhere the farmer can find it. Oh, I spoke too soon. I put the boonie hat back on. Man, it's suddenly shot up. I'm sweating. We've got this busy little main road here, but we're just going to cross it, carry on the other side. Just see the bridge. It's just a shame I hadn't been here earlier when that... Oh, I didn't notice that. When the train was actually coming through. Yeah, so it's just a steam railway line between the two towns from Skipton to the other one, which, to be fair, going to be hot and steamy to check. Here it is, here it is, here it is. This is the Embsay and Bolton Abbey Steam Railway. Bolton Abbey. I was wrong, it's got nothing to do with Skipton. Wow, my sweat is sweating. Spoke far too soon. So we're over the bridge onto Embsay. Embsay. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. Oh, some angry looking cloud that way. So on my map I've got myself going up that way when the road goes that way. I can just cut the corner off. What was I thinking? I've been able to get 5 minutes peace. So we're in Craven Wood, last leg of the journey. 1 mile left. Well, that's a mile left. Technically to the start of the trail, but I parked further up. So I only set that going and I walked to the start, which was about half a mile. So not far at all. So this is just a piece of woodland on the outskirts of Embsay. And you noticed I got a can of Kyle and a chocolate bar. I was happy, very happy. So we'll make the last leg back to the car. 1 hour drive home. Not been a bad trail, and the sun's definitely gone in. That cloud came this way, so it's cooled off a bit. Eager to finish now, ready for St Oswald's. Fire pit. Well, back at the car. Warm. Car's very warm. It's recording a temperature of 23 degrees, but which means it's probably 25 when the sun was out. And let me just bring up the stats, guys. Now the stats will be over bonk. There you go. 13 miles exactly. We added 2, was it 11.8? Can't remember. We've added some mileage on. Took 6 hours and 55 minutes, as you can see. Overall average 1.9 miles an hour is always caused by videoing, stopping for breaks, things like that. Obviously reduces your overall average, but moving average 3.1 miles an hour. I like that. That's good. Means my walking pace is back to 3 miles an hour. So that's good. So we added a bit of extra on. It says distance to destination half a mile, so it was half a mile that I walked from here to the beginning of the trail at Bailey Car Park, and originally that was the plan, to park at Bailey Car Park, but it didn't open till 9:30, so bear that in mind, guys. It's a car park specifically for visiting Skipton Castle, which I didn't really see because the big gates were shut. Well, good trail regardless. Let's get the map. Let's get a map and get a recap. Yep, so it was 11 miles, so we added 2 on, because there were a couple of times when I completely misread Gary. It was my own fault, and followed a track in one direction and realised I had to come back, double back on myself. We lost a little bit of mileage, not a lot. What was that? 1 click as we crossed, instead of going down Jenny Gill and then come up the Vicars Allotment to the trig point, Skipton Moor. We found the track, like I said early on, that we could follow straight up to the trig point, so that was good. But then we came down the way that I'd planned to come, back down Vicars Allotment, Skipton Pits, that's where we had a brew. Then we followed it all the way down High Edge Farm, Middlebrough House Farm, Snow Hill Farm, heading back north, Snow Hill Allotment. Then we picked up the Dales Highway. Like I said, it's a 90-miler through the Yorkshire Dales. Might put it on the list, you never know. Up to Drayton Heights, then up to Drayton itself. That's where we had dinner. Couldn't really film much because, like I said, it was busy. There were some young girls playing. Definitely didn't want to get caught filming myself and having to explain that I wasn't filming anyone else. Best not to take that chance. And then all the way over to the steam bridge. Saw the steam train a couple of times, but missed it when we were actually on the bridge. Then to Embsay, or Embsay, however you want to pronounce it, for a can of Kyle and a star bar. That was I went down a treat. And then through into Craven Wood, which was stupidly busy with a guy, an old timer. Looked quite well navigated, but he was using a Garmin watch. I think it was Garmin as a compass, and I don't know what he was doing. He looked lost. He kept doubling back on himself. I gave him an opportunity. I stood there, and I didn't stand there, but as I walked past, smiled and nodded. And at that point, I was just getting my Garmin out. So I gave him an opportunity if he wanted directions or wanted to ask anything, fine. But nope, wasn't meant to be. Anyway, it wasn't a massive woodland. He could have easily found his way out. And then from there, straight back to here, where we parked the car, which was further up the road. I don't think you can see out the window. Followed my rules of car parking. If you're going to car park in an urban area, some like housing estate, which is a really good place to park, because you blend in and you're not really that stealable, especially if you're doing it on multiple nights. I do recommend it, but I do recommend you follow a couple of guidelines. For me, I'll only ever pick a spot like this, where I'm parked in front of the fence, and a high fence at that. Don't park in front of somebody's window. You'll just draw attention to your car. And being a person who lives in a house like everybody else, you know, if somebody parks in front of your window, you want to know who it is, and you feel it's quite cheeky if someone's parking in front of your window, which is bizarre, but it's a thing. So I always make sure at the beginning this morning I drove up and down looking for the perfect spot. So I'll always park, make sure there's no double yellow lines, but I'll park on the fence bit so that the person doesn't feel that I'm encroaching on their space. So I would be more than comfortable leaving this car here for multiple nights, knowing that it will just blend in with everybody else's car. Make sure as well, you obviously don't park on double yellows, like I said. Make sure you don't block a roadway, and don't park in obviously low to poor working areas, council estates. You can tell them a mile off. I recommend you don't, if you want your car to be here when you get back, or at least still be in the condition that you left it. These estates are quite obvious. I've nothing against, before anyone starts commenting, I have nothing against these people. I do not judge these people, but statistically they do have a higher crime rate than perhaps this clearly middle class to upper class area. Middle class. It's just a thing. Some of the loveliest people I've met have been in those estates, both middle class and low to poor class council estates, and I've done outreach for the church in poor housing estates. Great people, not judging. Okay, let's just clear that up. But I don't recommend you park your car there for any length of time. It encourages vandalism. So yeah, there you go. There's a little bit of a free bit of advice on where to park your car. And I do have, as you might have seen, I'll just show it you. This is more of a visual deterrent than anything. This is my bright yellow steering lock. Goes in there. Locks your steering wheel off, but also acts as a deterrent to people who might be thinking about nicking your car. So, there you go. There's my tips. Right, well, that's me done. Next week, St. Oswald's Way. So I'll be going on the Saturday and filming, but it might be a bit different. I don't know yet, because usually in a group it makes talking to the camera a little bit difficult, a little bit awkward. But yeah, we'll be making a multi-day video, and I'm really looking forward to it. Might have said that a couple of times. Right guys, I'm going to drive home. We've got an hour-long drive, and the sweat is already beading on my forehead. So guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time back on the trail.